It's Monday morning and it is nasty here in Virginia Beach. Cloudy, gloomy, dreadful. Every icky word you could possibly come up with, it's icky outside. So I figured I'd come up here and have a simple conversation with you guys about true crime. And are some cases simply unsolvable? And the reason that I'm trying to discuss that topic is because all of these cases lately, I feel like are just, oh, let me put on my all messages, not top messages. There you are. Hey guys, um, Coberger. Let's start there. He basically, there's just so many people that say he's not guilty, and I'm just like, where does that come from? But knowing that they already demolished the house, me personally, I'm somebody that has to physically see the item. So for me, I feel like destroying the house just ruined the case. And no matter what now, I feel like the case is not ever going to be truly solved, because as jurors, they're going to get to see a visual video. But if they're anything like me, I don't really grasp something from somebody either explaining it to me or showing it to me in the video. I have to personally witness the scenario that's being discussed in order to grasp the scenario properly. Does that make sense? It's like I can't just be told, hey, this room is here and this room is here, and you could hear this from here and you could hear that from here. So we found out all right, let me get situated. Sorry guys. We found out in new documents, in paperwork, because with Brian Coberger, a lot of the evidence we had was gagged. And so now we're getting pieces of information from the Brian Coberger case that of the evidence they have against him, which is a lot. They have like terabytes of information and surveillance and all this stuff that's basically irrelevant, but there's possibly something in there that could possibly be relevant. It's just like, Jesus, that's a lot of data they have. And their side, aka Brian's lawyer, is arguing that they don't have enough time to go through all of that. But then the prosecutor is saying like, well, basically it's just, surveillance, and therefore it's really not important. But then I can totally see where Brian's defense is saying, well, but what if there's something in there, and what if we do need to see it? So it's just like, I agree, Lucia. I mean, he has to be. But at the same time, saying that in one breath, I would still want to be able to see the house, the layout, how everything echoes in the house, if sounds are carried or if sounds are muffled, or if you could, it's insane to me. They cared more about the reputation of the school or like the eyesore of the house being there than actually solving a crime. I don't know. It drives me nuts. And so like when cases become this way, I get really jaded and I don't like to look at it anymore. I'm the type of person, I'm not like a hate watcher of anything, or I don't mass follow something that I dislike, or that something that gets on my nerves and something that I get frustrated with. And so it's for real, it's really hard even right now for me to be following Karen Reed because it's driving me nuts. But Brian Coberger, I figured I'd start with because we've been discussing Karen Reed. But his case is also almost as equally as frustrating because, like I said, now we're getting little bits and pieces of the information. But we've been discussing this case and basically like full-blown dissecting every piece that we could find for years now. And so now it's coming up to the trial, and now we're actually getting pieces of the paperwork that's been gagged up until now. The new information is that both Bethany and Dylan saw Xana because the door was not closed. So when we got the 911 call and the boy, H, I'll call him H, just like the H in Summer Wells' case, we called him H for a while. When you could hear somebody like knocking Thank you so much, Lady for Justice. Thank you, thank you. We hear someone knocking. Santa, Ethan, Santa. And it's like, if the door was wide open, what are they knocking for? Where are they even knocking? Like, did they not see the blood? I mean, did they go through the house at 4 a.m. when it was still dark and they didn't use flashlights? Like, I just don't. Maybe you could only see part of her in the doorway and maybe she wasn't. But then again, her father, who is the main person that's been leaking information this whole entire time, allegedly, supposedly, he says that she was beat up. Basically, like, she woke up, her friend was being unalived, she woke up, and then she fought, and so she had defensive wounds, like, he beat her up back. And blood does have a distinct smell, exactly. And supposedly there was so much blood that it was seeping through the foundation of the house. That is a lot, and I don't understand how you don't see that. Also, with that being said, I don't understand how this man supposedly got in and out by himself and didn't leave a trace of blood anywhere. Thank you so much, Helena. Make sure that if you got a membership from Helena to tell her thank you. Thank you so much, Helena. You rock. So it's basically like, where do we go from here? Is that an investigation issue? Is that a evidence issue? Is there more than one person? Because, you know, when Brian got arrested, he said, have you guys picked up anybody else for the crime? Or something to that nature. Like, what? I think another serial killer said that when he was arrested. So I don't know if he's just trying to be another serial killer. Like, he wants to be infamous. Or if, like, there's somebody else. What I gather from Benny Paulton, the roommates came home around 2:30. They couldn't see into... because it was at the end of the day, halfway, it was dark and saw a body on the floor. But the next day, when they all woke up and got to their senses to go try to find out what's wrong with Santa, who is the person that they called 911 for, we couldn't figure out in the beginning why she would call 911 and just simply say there's an unconscious person. Because if they saw her through the door, maybe they saw a certain angle only to where you couldn't tell there's blood everywhere. But according to her dad, she was beat up and her face was beat up. So, like, what exactly did you see? And then did you not walk in at all? So H goes over to try to help. The door was open. He's knocking. Dana! Dana! Why are you knocking if the door is open? Unless maybe, you know, they think that knocking is going to shake her out of being passed out, maybe? But they didn't see blood at all. So, like, something is just really weird with this case. I don't like it. They waited like 8 hours to call for help. They supposedly heard the cries and the commotion. And with the house being gone, you're never going to be able to replicate that. And I mean, that's a reasonable doubt to me, if there was one. Even though I feel like he did it. I just... See what I mean? It's like the more that I discuss it, the more frustrated I become. And the more I'm like, we can't fix this because we can't bring back the house. Same thing with Karen Reed. Like with Karen Reed, they investigated based on what was said at the scene. So like, for an example, as a volunteer EMT in my past background, I would show up on scene. Let's say it's a vehicular homicide. We get to the scene. We have all the people. It's chaotic. Let's say it's a blizzard that just started. Let's say it's a little snow. In Virginia, we panic over like an inch of snow. So like it won't make a difference in the story, but that'll make it panicky. It'll make it chaotic. You get to scene, and as an EMT, you actually are part of, not necessarily investigating the scene, but you're part of the crew that will relay information over as to what's happening and or what the cause is. Like for a motor vehicle accident, I would have to call in to the hospital to tell the hospital about the patient that's coming in, that I'm bringing in. So I'd be like, mechanism of injury, meaning like where it was hit, how it was hit, all of these different things are components to making sure the patient is greeted and certain staff members are there to accommodate the patient. Like, let's say, the windshield has a star and means they hit their head on the windshield. Then you've got to explain how the other car was positioned. And so all of that in mind, I don't think that I would even remotely think about, oh, hey, what about the house, until the end of my investigation as an EMT and getting the patient out and taken care of based on what was being said. And if Karen, in fact, did watch the man go inside, which at first she said she didn't see him go inside, which, what kind of person are you? When I drop off anybody at their house, I sit there until I watch the person go inside of the house, especially at nighttime. And according to her, they weren't fighting. This is her defense, at least. They weren't fighting. She just sent him in there to make sure that it was okay and that, are we welcome? Even though you just got welcomed and you just got invited. So, but she didn't sit there and make sure 100% that this man went into the house. But then she did in one of her stories. It's like her stories fluctuate depending on who she's talking to. And then she says she sat for a couple minutes and got angry. Well, you didn't even wait to watch him go in the house. Like, none of this makes sense, but her people that are so just, you can't say anything. She literally said that when her, Carrie, and Jen were driving that morning looking for this man, she expected to find him on the side of the road. And I don't know if those were the exact words, but for the most part, that's what I translated. That's what I heard. That's what a couple of other people heard from what I see. She expected to find the man on the side of the road. Thank you, Helena. And that when she saw him, he was like a mound. And she compared him to a buffalo in a prairie, and that he was a mound. Basically as if she was saying that you can't miss him. And I'm like, but yet it's a blizzard, and the two other women in the car didn't see him whatsoever at all. It's just you that saw him, because that's where you left him. That's where you struck him, and that's where you knew he would be around or at. So you were looking there in that direction for that distinct body, and you found it. But we still have reasonable doubt because, Jen lied on stand, and it's like, if she didn't have a defense that she fully paid for and they didn't paint such a crazy picture of what ifs and all the other people involved and all this other shit, like, it's chaos, and they've made it that way on purpose. I almost feel like she has, in the very beginning, hired a publicity team. Does that make sense? Like, there's things online where you can hire a company to run your PR, public relations, or you could hire a company to boost your standings within society. Like, they can make you seem famous. You can hire a company that will follow you around and act like paparazzi. Like, you literally have just the world at your fingertips on the internet. And there's so many different types of companies. Heck, in politics, a long time ago, there was groups that were like countering all of the negative with trolling. So like if a certain candidate was losing, they would hire this trolling company, and they would troll anybody in their opposition on the internet. So like if you were against such and such candidate A, there would be all these trolls that would somewhat attack you on the internet. And that's a company bought thing that I would have never thought of. But when a defense is able to simply get their witness and counter whatever witness the prosecution has, it's just, we're still discussing Jen McCabe's How Long to Die in the Cold search tab, whether it happened at 2 a.m. or 6 a.m. And even though at 6 a.m., there's different searches. Like, let me explain it. Just a second. 2 a.m., there's just the one Haas long to die and cold. At 6 a.m., there's different varieties of it. So basically what I understood from the actual Celebrite guy who invented the software, mind you, was that originally when that tab was open that morning for her to search her basketball stuff, she used that same tab at 6 a.m. It's not the next morning. Technically, it was like 2 a.m. and then 6 a.m. Actually, 2:21, I think, or 2:27. I'm so bad at numbers, I don't even remember. But it's so frustrating and so much, and it's just back and forth bickering for no reason, in my opinion, because it's been proven over and over that the search happened at 6 a.m. Because at 6 a.m., there's also Haas long to diet or something like that. There's other searches, and her saying originally in her testimony that her MS and her fingers and it was freezing and she tried to type it to search it, and it came up with different varieties because your phone instantly thinks it's smarter than you and tries to put in words, and that's not what you wanted it to do or say. But that's neither here nor there. Either way, the defense is still responding and countering the prosecution with, oh, she Googled it at this time. It's not true. It's been proven that it's not true like a million times over. Yeah, we're still here. And so it's like at some point, I could totally see either of these cases I'm discussing as just being a wash. Like people just, I don't really know, because of the bickering and the chaos and the commotion that's been created on purpose to make you freaking confused as hell. And I mean, that's our justice system, right? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't feel like true justice is served for anybody. And it makes it hard to want to cover it or participate in it or go see it personally. Like, I really wanted to see Massachusetts, and I do too. I feel for the jury members also, because they're sitting there and the back and forth they witnessed at Alan Jackson. Thank you so much for the little poop. I love it. Ellen Jackson badgering Jen McCabe. I mean, I don't know if these jury know anything about the case, because sometimes they say they don't and they know a little bit, which is fine. But as a normal woman sitting there listening to this man just badger this soccer mom, like she's got 4 girls, I think she said, and she's a basketball coach, and someone said she's a teacher. I mean, this man was just basically flat out accusing her of lies, and then people are like, look, she's defensive and she's lying about this. Well, if you were being accused of being part of some type of conspiracy to off your friend that you deeply loved and cared for. Oh, and then I even heard and saw people say her 911 call, she didn't say, you know, her good friend. That's not how you make a 911 call. If I was to call and have a 911 operator on the phone, me saying, hey, I'm calling about, there's a male in the snow. Like, I wouldn't say, hey, my best friend was fighting with this. It just doesn't help when you're trying to relay pertinent information. And look, my phone is actually dying. I don't think my phone charged last night. Dagnabbit. But anyways, you know, exactly, coming from someone that has MS, you don't drink, or you're not supposed to drink. She drinks like a fish. She still drinks. That's another thing. Like, supposedly she had a brain tumor. I think that was just her excuse to get out of going to prison, honestly. But I think that magically went away, or like it wasn't that. They thought she had one. Maybe she got scans and it didn't end up to be one. I'll give her that. But she supposedly had a colonoscopy bag at one point. But you're drinking like a fish. Like, make it make sense. Be an adult. Do things that are, you know, good for you in your situation. If you've got all these health issues and medical problems, I don't think you're supposed to drink like a fish. And so, I mean, does that make her more drunk than what the normal person is? I don't know. But I know that they checked her blood alcohol level and it was freaking, she was still drunk 8 hours later. So, make sure you guys check out Dolly Vision. Today at 9, the court case is going to start back up. It'll probably be torture for me, but I'll watch it because, you know, I got to support my man. And I gotta just keep up with it because it's like I started reading a chapter book and it's like putting it down after you've read 70 chapters and it's a 100 chapter book. I can't just put it down. But I gotta run, you guys. Thanks so much for being here with me. It's Monday. Try to be kind to somebody. It's gonna be hard today. Pray for me. Catch you guys on the flip side. Bicycle, look at the clapping seal. Yay! Thank you so much, Helena. You're the best. Have a good rest of your day, everybody. Bicycle.